Hello everybody, hopefully you're having a wonderful, fantabulous, and mystical day over in the mystical side of life. I am Emmanuel Aguilar, aka Mystic Fox 4, and I thought this week I would kind of show you guys a little bit about how I do my value painting and how that actually works. So in the drawing that you see on screen, I'm actually just drawing some elf girls and some variation on some face paints. And I wanted to discuss exactly how I do it. So you start off by doing a face drawing or whatever kind of drawing that you'd like, and then you lay in a what I call an undertone or a wash, which is that gray kind of skin tone that she has right now. And then right now after that, you just start laying in the value, which is the black hair, and you just stack it upon each other. And then after that, you just start adding the gloss on the hair wherever you want it. I try to think of them kind of like I learned a long time ago from a good gentleman by the name of Ahmed Al-Duri. I'll link his video down below in the description if you care to see. You think of them like ribbons, and you just kind of shade them in that way. And the reason is because it gives that kind of a glossy feel. And it has a cool kind of aroma to it, or not aroma. You can't smell that. You can't smell the hair. It gives it a nice feeling. And then after that, you just add value to the eye so that it gives it like that little pop. And you mainly want to do that because you want to give it like enough of interest, and kind of like regular eyes, they have a lot of value within them. And when I say value, I mean black and white scales. So if you kind of look at the painting in a black and white, how bright is it to how dark it is, that's basically values. And so after you do that, you just start adding value, giving it like a roundness. Like you want to think about things as, what I like to call 1, 2, 3 read, even though that's not the right name for it because that's something completely different. But you want to give it a bottom and a top, basically. And if you can give it sides, if it's possible, go for it because it helps kind of bring that to life. You can see that by under her chin, I added a little bit of value. That's to kind of indicate that there's depth there. I just did that throughout the piece. Now, I like to do it on like certain spots because they are key spots that, whenever somebody sees that area kind of shaded or done a certain way, it makes it look nice and appealing. So one of those areas would probably be under the chin or on the brim of the head. The other one would be like the neck and the shoulder blades. If not the shoulder blades, the little gap in between the throat. That's always a good place to start. Now, you always kind of want to pull stuff from reference, so I highly recommend you get some of that squared away. Anyways, going on the piece, right? On actually doing it, like continuing. I mean, you want to also make sure you're putting in whites, right? When I say this, I don't mean go all the way to the white in the highest scale, right? And then like use that. Like hard brush that. No, you want to use opacity, which is one of the settings on Photoshop that you can click by just hitting those little circles. I could see if I could get a picture of it for you, but if anyone has trouble with it, just feel free to comment down below, and I'll mention it in a future video. And then for this whole video, I just used the standard round brush and the standard round soft brush. I just squished it a little bit because it makes it look better. Now, when the image turned darker a couple seconds ago, what that means is that I duplicated all of the layers and merged them. And then the layers beneath that, I made into a group. Now, the reason I do this is because once you merge everything, you become a little bit more committed to it. And it makes you kind of think about things a lot more because there's no erasing. You have to be very specific with what you want to do. And yes, you can, Control-Alt-Z, which is going back a step. But you want to try to avoid doing that a lot because also getting into that habit is kind of not that great for your draftsmanship, which I can talk way more about in another video, because after taking the course at Brainstorm, I've learned a lot about draftsmanship, and hopefully it shows. So right now I am just kind of adjusting things here and there. I was drawing a little bit on the above image, but don't worry too much about those. We're going to focus on what I did or what I'm going to do in this next one. So after I finished the image, I started putting a little bit of glares here and there, but you always, don't try to rush to the glares. And I know this from experience. I kind of do this, and I jump to the gun and I just throw them in. But it's important to remember that glares and things like that, they're to add to the image, to make it better. You don't add them in before it's better or before you're at that step, because it's just going to make the image look bad. It's like trying to rush yourself during a workout. You're not warmed up yet, and you're not ready to start doing that, the really heavy weights, but you start with that and then you hurt yourself, and then you can't run anymore because you kind of messed up your cycle. So in the second painting, I'm doing the exact same thing that I did in the previous one, which is just kind of, dropping values where they're supposed to go in terms of the hair and the ears and the nose and all that. But because it's a different face paint, the areas that I use the white in are going to be those areas that I've already previously blocked out in the sketch. So once I get to those stages, you're going to see I literally just pick white with opacity and I fill those in. And you don't want to press really hard on it, kind of like when you're drawing traditional. You know how, let's say you were using a white pencil, the harder you draw, the harder it's white, right? So same thing applies here. So you want to do it very lightly, just so that you can get enough of the white so that you know it's white, but not enough to the point where you're like, whoa, that is definitely white. Like, it is no opacity. You can't see any of the things under it. And the reason you want to see some of the stuff under it is because there's this thing called color vibration, or it's something that I kind of learned from other people, mainly a couple of artists. And it's just kind of what one person calls it, but I kind of deem that through across the board because it makes sense. And that is color vibration. But in this case, it wouldn't be color vibration. It is just values working in tandem with one another. But in a sense, it's a color vibration because when you apply this can be applied to colors as well, and it works just fine. So after you finish, doing the first step, which was just to lay in all of the values where they go and then kind of blend them together, you can do that simply by selecting the value that you're already trying to paint and then kind of starting to go on, like, let's say the lighter area, and then get them between, and then, just fill in the gap. I can also link a video on how to blend by the same artist that I like so much, Aguilar. I know I talk about him a lot, but honestly, there's a lot of stuff that you can learn from him. So feel free to check his profile out. He's just a swell dude, I learned a lot from the guy. So I guess this is my weird way of saying thank you. Let me make a video of you, bro. So that concludes the tutorial. So essentially, I just lay in the values here and there to kind of give you a general sense of where everything is or where everything should be. You want to make the rounded edges round by making them softer by using the soft round brush. And you want to make them, you don't want to make everything soft though, so you want to use the hard round brush to kind of get some of those edges to be a little bit harder. The more you learn is that there isn't really a such thing as a hard edge in Photoshop. Everything's really soft because that's just how Photoshop works, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. But you can get fairly hard edges here and there, or things that are fairly close to dark edges. So the section that I'm actually looking at right now in the video is I am darkening all the eyes in the images. This is so that I can add a kind of a shading to the eyes. I learned this technique from Max Grech. You can download his how-to video on his Gumroad. I'm not going to go too into it, but it's really good, really informative, and it's just really nice piece of information. You basically just add black to the eyes, and then erase slowly until you can just see the white, and then you erase a little bit more and more and more until you can finally see the image. And it just makes it all around great, because why not? It also adds like depth to the eye, and you can actually see it, and it's like a rounded form. I can show you guys an in-depth thing on how I study eyeballs, but I also have a video on my YouTube channel that I will probably link that would probably help you and benefit you in many ways, because it's just that. I'm just making round eyeballs. Anyways, dudes, as always, don't forget to stay mystical. And I'll also include a preview to what I'm going to be doing the next episode, which is going to be the following week after this one. I'm actually making a video with one of my friends, and we're going to be making a Dungeons & Dragons character. We are putting together story. I'm going to do the character designs for the actual main character. She's going to be making it for the main god that this character worships, and it is going to be a corrupt paladin. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next episode. And as always, don't forget to comment down below, because it's important for me to hear from you guys. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about the video. If you guys liked it, make sure you smash that like button like I said earlier. But more importantly, don't forget to subscribe and smash that bell icon, because the more people that I get subscribed, the more people can give me ramen to be able to feed my dog, Snoopy, which you guys don't know about, but I'll show you a picture just right. There you go. Just never forget to stay mystical.